Yeah. Actually, I joined a little late, so sorry for that. But since I had to go out, and about you were talking about the debentures, yes. So here, yes. Um, Also, no, there is no dividend kind of. No, you don't have any obligation or some. No, you don't have to pay anything such things, right? If you have a equity, then yeah, you may have to pay dividend.
No, no, it's actually the opposite. In a debenture, you are mandated to pay the interest. In equities, there is no guarantee. So, for example, if I buy the shares of a company, the company does not promise me to pay dividends. So, there are companies which have not paid any dividend ever. There are companies which have not paid any dividend for last 10 years, 15 years. You will easily be able to find such companies.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So in fact, that is one of the greatest advantages of equity, raising equity, right? Always I keep saying, equity is free money for the company. You are not required to pay dividends. You are not required to pay anything. So if I get 1,000 crores as equity, I can pay nothing. Just ensure that they are traded, and once they are traded, people buy and sell from the secondary market. Like for example, ICICI Bank. If it doesn't pay dividend, nobody can say anything. The share price will do whatever it has to. Share price is a function of demand, supply, and a lot of other factors, profits, etc. So the job of ICICI Bank, whoever is running it, the CEO, is to increase the profit. That's it, year on year. So if 2019 the profit was 500 crores, 2020 if he can show 700 crores as profit, that is, his job is done. Any company CEO who can deliver 40% profit growth year on year consistently for 10 years, he'll be a hero. There are very few CEOs who can do that. 40%,
So,
50%,
Nisha,
even 30.
yeah. So, Nishant, one quick question: is this true for the private companies as well, that the equity holders are not liable to get any profits or any kind of dividend?
Yeah, so the company is never obligated. But in private, there will be only 10 people, right? So they will decide, boss, paisa to lenge hum. Many times, generally, if it is there are only 10 shareholders in a company, they would also be employees. So they would anyways pay salary to themselves. So they would make their money that way. And it can be bloated salaries also. In India, same thing happens, right? Most promoters, they pay themselves a salary. They show themselves as employees of the company also. So they get capital appreciation for their shares in the secondary market, and they also ensure that they pay themselves a very high salary.
Okay.
But yeah, as per accounting laws, no company is ever obligated to give dividends. It can always retain all of the money. As I said, right, a company is like a human being in accounting. So a company can always say, I want to retain this extra money to grow the business in future. That's it. That one line is more than sufficient.
So Nishant, one quick question over here. I'm talking from the private company's perspective. Then, what is the way to take money out of the company?
Same, just like public company, you sell your shares to somebody else. Just that it will not be so easy. The market will not be liquid. So every day SBI
No,
20 crore shares are traded in the market. For a private company, there is no such trading. But you can talk to
no, no.
somebody and say, boss, and try to
No,
sell
no.
your stake.
I'm not talking about raising more capital. I'm talking about the profits which has been made by a company. It's in the company's account. If somebody has to, let's say there are 10 promoters of that company or 10 partners of that company, they have to take the share of the profit. And what is the procedure? Like similar to issuing the dividends, something like that?
No, I'm not getting your question. So if it's a private company with 10 people and profit was 10 crore in 2019, company decided to not to pay the profit. So
Yeah,
company
but I'm
decided not
talking
to pay.
about company wants to pay the profit to the 10 employees. What is the procedure there? I mean, is it
If
that
the company wants to pay, yeah, so 10 crore profit was done. If the company wants to pay the whole 10 crore as dividend, the company will pay the whole 10 crore as dividend. So 100% payout ratio.
okay, so basically the dividend is the only way to pay out to the promoters or the shareholders and no other way in a private company. I'm not talking about the public listed companies.
Yeah, but what other way you want?
I'm just asking. I mean, I don't know, so that's what just what I
No,
wanted to
so
know
see,
that if
at the
there is.
end of the day, when in a private company, as I said, say if the company is doing good, my share price would have also gone up. So say the company started in 2015 and 10 of us started, say the 10 of us here. So you, me, Rajiv, Siddharth, Ashrar, Dheeraj, Venkat, Srihari, all of us put in 10 crores and we started a company, 100 crores in 2015. First year we made 5 crore profit. 2016 we made 10 crore profit. 2017 we made 20 crore profit. 2018 we made 30 crore profit. So the profits are going up. And maybe last year 2019 we made 80 crore profit. So basically on our original investment of 100 crore, now our return is 80%. Our ROE is 80%. So now say I want to get out. So I will go to Ashar and say, Ki, bhai, I don't want to continue. So will you buy my share? Initially I had invested 10 crores, but now that the ROE is 80%, I feel for getting 8 crores return, you should pay maybe 5 times, so 40 crores. So 5 times of profit. So basically the whole company is valued, say 80 crore is the profits, right? So I'll put a P. So I'll tell to Ashrar the P should be 20. So now the company is valued at 16 crores. So my original investment of company initially we put 100 crores. Now it is 16 crores, 1600 crores. So the company's value itself has gone by 16 times. Following, I think I made so many numbers. So now the company's value has gone up by 16 times. So my original stake of 10 crore is worth 120 crores. So I will tell Ashrar, boss, you give me 120 crores, take my full 10. So instead of 10%, now you will own 20% of the company. Now if Ashrar thinks it is the valuation is correct and he has 160 crores, he will buy from me. If he doesn't agree, I will go to Siddharth. I will tell him, boss, will you want? If he also says no, then I'll give 2%. If that also doesn't work, I'll bring in an outside investor.
Okay, makes sense. Makes sense now.
Okay, the only difference between a private and a public limited company is liquidity. A private limited company, to do this transaction, it will take months. In a public limited company, I can just put a sell order, sell, chalo, pago, kaani khatam. Because every day 20 crore shares are traded.
And private limited companies, for example, if 2019 profit is 10 crore and they want to invest 8 crore for the 2020, and they want to share only 1 crore for the the promoters, for 10 promoters. So here one promoter has higher share or higher investment. So then accordingly he will get his profit also, right, with respect to the ratio.
Yeah. So dividend is always per share, right? So how many shares you own? So in the example, I said each one own 10%. So if the company gives 1 crore as dividend, each one will get 10 lakhs. If say Ashrar owns only 1%, company gives 1 crore dividend, he will get only 1 lakh. If Siddharth owns 25%, he will get 25 lakhs. Whatever percentage you own, that much dividend you get. Like for example, Reliance Industry, if it gives a dividend of 10,000 crores, 51% will go to Ambani. So 5,001 crore will go to Ambani account because he owns 51%.
En pige?
René.
René?
Ja, det er noget med Sofie først læste fra klokken 17.
Fra klokken 17?
Hun er i hvert fald blevet sat på hernede.
Nå, ja.
Any other questions? Okay, so that was good, Srihari. Good try, and I really like your enthusiasm and your proactiveness. Okay, thanks for that. Before continuing, just one question. Hopefully, all of the group leaders and team leaders have been able to connect with your team. And for all the team members, hopefully you are cooperating with your group leaders and team leaders. And I believe all the companies' names have been decided, and all of you have assigned specific tasks to yourself. Utilize your skills. So as I said last time, somebody may be good with data collection, somebody may be good with presentation, somebody may be good with data analysis, somebody may be good with reading a P&L. So there are 4 statements that you need to read: P&L, balance sheet, cash flow, funds flow. So each one of you look what is your strength. So from a very young age, I always liked P&L and balance sheet. I've never liked cash flow and funds flow for whatever reason. I'm not like those 2 statements, but somebody may love that. So these 4 statements, somebody may love to read annual reports. So go ahead and read that. You also have investor presentations. Usually every quarter or every year, each of these large companies will have investor presentations. So go through that. and there are many other data. So make it really interesting, okay? And this
Nishant,
is like a challenge. I want to see how teams come up with different ideas and be creative, okay? Use any format, as I said. No need to stick to Word, Excel, PPT. You have some other format, all for it, okay? Any new technology, somebody makes your own website, whatever you like.
Nishant, when you say fund flow statement, it is shareholders' equity. Is that what it is? Or
No, so in accounting, there are 4 different statements that every company has to publish: cash flow, fund flow. But generally, fund flow I don't see. So,
fund flow? That's what
basically,
even I was.
so there are 2 bases of accounting, right? One is cash basis and one is accrual basis. So, fund flow will be on accrual basis and cash flow will be on cash basis. In a very simple word, cash basis means if I receive 100 rupees in the month of August, I treat it as income for August. But this I may have received in advance. So this is for some service I will provide in November. So I have received in advance. So in accrual basis, I will only count it as a revenue in November. Or it might be that I received the payment 4 months late. So this was something I did in March and I got the money now. So this is actually counted as income of March. So that is accrual basis. Whereas cash basis, जब मिला तब account कर लिया.
Nishant, so in accrual basis, we are forced to correct it every so often, right? Because obviously,
No,
if
so
people
you
pay
will.
late,
Yeah, so you will put it like money to be received, right? That is what when we see in balance sheet, right? Accounts receivable, which means service has been given but money has not been received. Similarly, accounts payable. I have taken service from someone but I have to pay them. So
okay,
accounting
thanks.
mostly follows accrual basis. We never follow cash basis, and there are reasons for it. So we will. That is for another day. That is accounting 101. So yeah, I have to create one channel on accounting. So yeah, let me know. So yeah, and also now coming to Slack, I have created multiple channels. If you have suggestions for other channels or you want to create one, please feel free. As I have always said, this is not my group alone. I lead the group, but I want everyone to be equally invested. That is the only way this group will go in the direction I want it to go. So please feel free to create your own channels. You don't even need to ask my permission. If you feel so, you can tell me about it, but you can create your own. I have created it broadly into topics like fixed income, equities, leadership, few topics that interest me. I'm going to create one for motivational as well. So I'll share some motivational videos, people I follow. If you guys follow someone else, please feel free to share as well. I may like them, you may like the people I follow, so on and so forth. Like for example, Srihari was mentioning, right? He is okay to take a subscription. So today, Sal Khan has made an appeal that he wants some donations. So see if you guys want to contribute, because he doesn't charge for his YouTube channels. And I was seeing just Khan Academy has so many other channels, Khan Academy Kids, etc. So there are multiple channels he has created on YouTube, and he's actually doing a really good job. So Jimmy Wales and Sal are 2 quite inspiring people. Anyways, so coming back to the topic, so as Srihari made a good start, now I would like somebody else to talk more about convertible bonds and what is your understanding. And yeah, Siddharth, I think you had a point, so please feel free to make that.
Yeah, no, I had a question regarding the presentation, right? So what are we exactly to present? Is it just the financial statements and the share, the share changes of the company in the past quarter, or what is the exact core of the presentation? What do you expect from the presentation so we can start working on it
What we
accordingly?
did, what we did for Titan Bajaj Finance, right? You are the
Okay,
analyst, and you need to
okay,
make a recommendation that is it a buy, sell, or a hold. And
okay,
as
okay.
our core is value investing, so take a time period of 10 years and say today which company is for your group.
Netflix. We are doing
Yeah,
Netflix.
Netflix. So say for example you recommend a buy example. So
Okay.
you need to give the case that today Netflix market cap is $250 billion, and in
Mm-hmm.
10 years it will be $2 trillion, which is 8x of
Mm-hmm.
today.
Mm-hmm.
So in 10 years it will be 8 times, and that is why you recommend a buy. Although 8 times in 10 years is not a lot, because there are companies which can be 20 times in 10 years. So is really Netflix, and then is Netflix really a value stock or is it a growth stock? If it is a growth stock, how do you see Netflix being worth $2 trillion? Because is the market even that big? What about competition? And considering
Okay.
all that, for 10 years will it be there? If you think no, you feel
Right.
it's overvalued, you give a sell. if you feel neutral, like neither a buy nor a sell, so if you have bought it, you can hold it for 3-6 months, and then you probably give a price target, and then maybe if we note it somewhere a year down the line, we will see how accurate you were.
So
So as I
buy,
said,
hold, or
it's
sell
difficult.
is what we have to give in the overall picture of the presentation, and
Yeah, and give
keeping in
a
mind
target
that it's
price.
from the value investing
Give
perspective.
give
Okay.
a target price. So 1 year from now, say I don't know what the current price is, say $60. So 1 year from now, you see it at $80. So
Okay.
target price of 15 August 2021 is $60. 2 years from now, you see it at 65. 3 years from now, you see it at 70. Something on those lines. So let's see how accurate that is. And what are your rationale for that?
I mean, are there some tools to predict such values, or how do you just guesswork? Or I mean, like the example you just gave us now. I mean, how is that?
There are no tools. So as an analyst, basically everyone analyzes based on their parameters, and then you make an educated guess. So this is where finance becomes more of a art and a science. Okay, so the science is in number crunching, doing discounted cash flows and all that. So you predict how much will be the annual collections of Netflix, how fast can your revenue grow, how fast will their cost grow, will their revenues grow more than cost. So do you expect the management and the CEO to be able to control costs? So say revenue grows by 20% over the next year, but cost will only grow 15%, which will lead to margin expansion. Then in today's world, money is available very cheap. So Apple and all are raising money at 40 paise. So basically for a 100 rupee loan, they are giving 40 paise as interest, not 4 rupees, 40 paise. So will Netflix be able to leverage that? But then what about competition? Disney is coming. So somebody was telling me Apple may look to buy Disney. Some guy I follow on LinkedIn. So that's an interesting thought. It is possible. Now, if Apple buys Netflix, Apple is already at $5 a month, the Apple Plus. What happens to Netflix? It's at $13. Can they hold $13? Will the revenues go down? What happens when the vaccine is found? Will the number of hours watched per person in the US go up, go down? It's not an easy task. So I know. So it may not be so easy to do it over 2 weeks, but I'm just giving you the pointers how you will get better at it. And that's the whole purpose. The first time everyone is doing it. Next month I expect it to be better, then still better. 6 months from now we'll have a very good understanding of how to make it happen. Good questions. Any other questions? Cool. So who else now will go after Srihari? So what is your understanding of convertible bonds?
I can try. I mean, he explained it really well.
Okay,
But I
go ahead.
can reiterate what he said. So convertible debentures, or debentures are nothing but bonds. I think debentures is an old English word that stuck around in India, but I think internationally, I think they're considered bonds. And in any bonds, there is an issuer, there is a lender and a borrower, I think, yeah. And most of the companies, they borrow money from the public or from many investors who are the borrowers, and they give money and they take the bonds from the companies, and the company promises to give a specific rate of interest as dividend, I guess. And in convertible bonds, it's just convertible debentures or convertible bonds are nothing but that after a specific amount of time, these bonds get converted into shares or equity. Sometimes you have these you have secured debentures, you have unsecured debentures. Yeah, that's most what I got from the videos and from your talk.
That's a good point you made, right? So secured versus unsecured debentures. So you don't speak Ashrar. So can anyone tell me what are secured debentures, please?
It's an debenture where some collateral has been.
Who's this? Srihari, no, wait. Your turn is done. Let others also speak.
Venkat here. Sorry,
Oh,
I
Venkat,
came
sorry.
through, but yeah, no,
Yeah,
no.
Venkat.
Now I'm talking. Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I understand. Yes, so whatever you're investing money, so that is secured. No, that means you will get your principal back with no without any issues. Is that correct? But maybe a less interest rate.
No, right? There is no guarantee that you will get it back. So secure means, so that's what is secure mean?
Okay, yes, there is kind of a guarantee.
So
Nobody gives a guarantee. So that's what I'm saying. So that is not correct.
So secure means that you are getting some kind of purchasing some kind of insurance
There's a
on the bond,
collateral.
right?
No, one person at a time. Let issuer talk.
So my understanding of a secured debenture is that you have to purchase some kind of insurance on that security. So
No.
which means that
No, that is credit default swap. You're going into credit default swap. Secured debenture. Srihari was going on the right track, but yeah, somebody else, because everybody should speak.
It is when it is backed up by collateral. So basically, the lender gets some kind of insurance against the loan.
Yeah, so the collateral
not
part
be-
is the important one, right? So it is backed by a
Exactly.
collateral. The easiest example that I can give is like a home loan. So when you take a home loan from a bank, the bank keeps your home till you repay the loan. Now
So
in this,
if the borrower defaults and can't pay off the loan, the lender can get back what is owned by acquiring the asset belonging to the
correct,
borrower.
correct. But in this, there is a very big risk. So Kunal, now you don't speak, okay? So in this, there is a very big risk as a bank I am taking. Even though I am taking a security, there is still a very big element of risk. If I do it in a wrong way, tell me what is that mistake? And this mistake was done by a lot of banks deliberately or undeliberately. That's a separate discussion or for another day. But it was done in 2007-8, and it can also be done based on what the RBI just announced 4 days ago in the MPC. And what did RBI announce in the MPC? I would like to see if people are reading my articles. So I'm not going to tell what RBI announced and which specific clause I am talking about. And that will be interesting to see who comes with that. And people who have already spoken will not speak. So I would like others to put in your thoughts. That would mean Vaibhav, Siddharth, Som. Okay. Dheeraj,
I don't know.
think
I mean, are you talking about the gold? I mean, that 75% to 90%. That
yeah. So that is
or
the MPC one. So can you explain that in little more detail, please? What was the current rule and what is the new rule?
yeah. So basically, if someone wanted to buy gold before, they could take if gold was 50,000. So maybe they could go to a bank and they could ask the bank to give them around 75% of 50,000. And that amount they could use it to buy the gold. Now RBI has mandated that
No. Sorry.
that
Who will buy the gold? I'm
whoever
confused.
wants to buy it from the bank, like whoever wants to buy, whoever wants to buy can go to a bank and then he can ask a limited like 75% of that amount of gold. For example, if I want to buy 50,000 rupees amount of gold, I go to the bank, I tell them that you give me 75% of 50,000 because it's according to the RBI mandate, like the previous
No.
one. Then
No. So you
It's
are
about
saying I will
loan, I think, no?
take,
Pledging gold and taking loan.
yeah. So what you are saying is I will take a loan from RBI and go and buy gold. No, that is not correct, right?
No, not at all. What I'm saying is that, simply speaking, RBI has a rule that banks could initially could lend up to 75% of whatever amount that someone wanted to like borrow from that bank if they wanted to buy gold. And
No,
now
I
they
mean,
have
that is what I'm saying.
if I put it in a simple way, let's say let's say I have gold at home worth 1 lakh.
No,
Means I
wait.
can
Not
now
simple.
buy.
Wait, Kunal. Vaibhav is completely wrong. So what he's telling is like buying a new home, right? So if I go to a bank and the home is worth 1 crore, bank will give 75 lakh loan. So he's saying simply that if gold is worth 1 crore, the bank will give 75 lakh loan. That is not correct, na? So he is talking about a different product. So he is completely wrong. You can correct him. Go ahead, Kunal.
So basically, I mean, what I understood is they are relaxing the LTV ratio from 75% to 90%.
Correct. Don't go to LTV ratio and all. First, what is the product? What product he mentioned is wrong, right? What is this product we are talking about?
So gold loan, no, for people, common people, if they want to take a loan on their gold, physical gold they're owning, so they can.
Who's this?
Venkat.
Venkat, you are correct. So basically, the product is loan against gold, which I already own. So it is like I want to take a loan against a house that I already own. 100% house is in my name. I have cleared my loan, and then I want to take a new loan. So this product, so there is something called loan against property, loan against shares, loan against gold. So this is a loan against a collateral I already own, not to buy more. So these two are very different things.
So basically, what they have done is that
wait.
If today I own 1 lakh worth of gold.
Kunal, let Venkat finish because he started this. Let him finish.
So yes, now since gold prices has gone up, so that's why it's RBI has given this information that yes, banks can.
No. Again, you are also wrong. It is not because gold prices have gone up that RBI allows you to take 90% of the gold value. The reason is something else, right? So what is that reason?
Sorry, then I'm not read this fully. Yeah.
So why did RBI say that instead of 75% you can get 90% of your value? So basically, if my gold is valued at 50,000, earlier the bank was authorized to give me loan up to 37,500. Authorized means that is the maximum limit. Bank can always give less. So some bank can say, boss, I will not give you 37,500. I'll only give you 30,000. You want, you take. You don't want, go home. Some can say, I'll give you only 25. So then why did RBI increase it from 75 to 90? And it has got nothing to do with gold prices.
To increase liquidity, people can get easily money, access to money.
One by one, please. Yeah, go ahead, Venkat.
Yeah, so that means since now really people economy to be reviewed in India, and then people need to have more access, or the owners or the small scale manufacturers need more money, and then yes, so they get more money for the same gold or worth of what they have asset. So it will improve.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you kind of covered it perfectly. So that is the main reason. So basically, as a customer in India, a lot of people have gold. So say I have 5 kg of gold sitting at my home, but I can't use that because gold is not a medium of exchange. I cannot trade with gold. I cannot go and do transactions with gold. So I need to convert this gold to cash. So what RBI is saying is people have a lot of gold. So you as a bank have a lot of cash because I have given you cash by pumping. Thank you. People have a lot of cash, or rather banks have a lot of cash. So let the people come to the bank with their gold, and as a bank, instead of giving them a loan of 37,500, you give them 45,000 for every 50,000 worth of gold. But again, this is just a recommendation. Banks are free to follow it or not. Okay. Now tell me, what is the risk here? There is a very, very big risk here, and which we saw happen in the last week already.
What if the gold prices fall back to the pre-corona level?
Exactly. Yeah, not even pre-corona levels, but gold prices have become extremely volatile, and 10% margin is very less. So right now the bank has a good buffer. So on a 50,000 collateral, if I give loan of 30,000, even if it falls to 40,000, I still am covered. Because I have to cover interest portion also, right? If the person is not able to repay, he may not even be able to repay the interest. So that will also get added up. So the loan value may go up from 30 to 35 because interest is also outstanding. So as a bank, I'm covered. But if I have given him loan of 45,000 and the price falls even by 10%, first of all, 45 becomes equal. And then if he doesn't pay the interest, the outstanding is more than the gold. So even if I sell all the gold, I will not recover my full money. So the bank may end up losing 10-15%, which is exactly what happened during the crisis in 2008. So a person was buying a house of $1 million in California, but by fudging papers, he was getting loan for 1.5 million. And then after 1 year, he was getting a home improvement loan on 1.5 million of another $500,000. So when the market crashed, people said, boss, I already took a 2 million loan from you. I put in nothing in the house. Now house is worth only 800,000. You keep the keys. I will keep the money. A lot of people did like that.
And people started buying 2-3 houses, so it actually increased it multifold.
That is, forget it. That is, so don't get into all that, right? So people bought not 2, 3, 20, 30 houses also. But basically they kept banks' money. And now do the case. The case will run for whatever number of years. And what will the bank do with so many houses? So in Bangalore, I was talking, this situation is starting to happen in Bangalore. There are some home loan guys who have 5,000 houses or 200, 500 houses. So nobody is ready to buy. And that house, and at least in India, because of RBI and all, for 1 crore house, these guys had given 70 lakh loan. But say the guy repaid only for 2 years. So the 70 lakh became only 69 lakh because first 2 years only 1 lakh principal gets down. And on 69 lakhs, now interest is another 6-7 lakhs. So total outstanding is 75 lakhs. And the bank guy has the house now. But he's not able to sell for 75 lakhs also because there is no liquidity in the market. And now there is not one home loan provider. There are some 100 home loan providers in Bangalore like that. So each one has 50-60 houses. So 50-60 into 100, 6,000 houses are there in the market. Nobody, no buyers, only seller. It is like down circuit hit ideally. Okay, anyways, we diverted a little bit, but did it make sense? Any questions? Ashrar seems a little confused. So you have some question.
But maybe can you summarize, Nishant, about this? Yeah, that secured and non-secured, this, bond or debentures.
No, you want to summarize or you want me to summarize?
Yes, it's better if you summarize. So.
No, summary is not over. Abhi to bahut, it's a lot to go. So it was just
not okay. All right, then okay, then yeah, okay. Fine.
So Ashrar, you had a question if you want to ask.
No, I mean, it's not a question. It's just, I think it was a little fast for me, but I got most of the points that if the gold price falls, that they will default it kind of, right? This is the take home. I mean, I didn't follow the numbers. That was too quick for me, but also
okay, so I will try to give you the perspective again. So for the gold loan, what I was saying is now for a 50,000, if the value of the gold as of today is 50,000 and you are the bank, I come to you and I say, boss, I have this gold which is worth 50,000. Say this is my gold and it's worth 50,000. So you tell me, as per the RBI guidelines, you are the banker, you can give me a maximum of 37,500, or rather you didn't tell me, I tell you that boss, give me 37,500. That is what RBI says. You as a banker say, boss, nothing doing. RBI has given a rule. It is not that I need to follow it. It is a maximum. I will only give you 30,000. You want, take it. Otherwise, go to Siddharth. He is the second bank. He can give you more. I will give you only this much. And this is the rate of interest. Now in that is called prudent lending because you are very safe. In this case, what will happen is, even if the gold price falls to 40,000 and I don't even pay you some interest for a year and it's a 10% interest. So 30,000 plus 10% is 33,000. So I owe you 33,000, but the gold is worth 40,000. You will call me 3-4 times, send me 2-3 letters. After that, I still don't pay. You will sell the gold, take 33,000, send me the check for 7,000. Transaction closed. You are safe. Now what RBI is saying is, like Venkat said, in order to increase the liquidity, RBI is saying, boss, this is gold is worth 50,000. So I am telling the banks that instead of 75, you can lend up to 45,000, 90%. Now I will come to you and say, boss, give me 45,000. You will say nothing doing. Or you will say, no, yeah, okay, RBI said I will give. Anyways, you also have a lot of money. You also have to earn, na? So you will say, okay, take 45,000 and interest rate is 10%. I take the money from you. I am not an honest guy. I keep the money. I don't pay you interest also. After 1 year, the total amount you owe you is 49,500. And today, because gold is anyways run up so fast, it can also go and go down. So after 1 year, the gold that I gave you, which was worth 50,000 today, is only worth 40,000. So now your gold value is 40,000, but you have to recover 49,500 for me. You sell the gold, you only get 40,000. Still 9,500 you are in loss, right? See the difference?
So in this scenario, you leave the gold with the bank then, like it's in this example, it's in my account or in my safety deposit
Yeah, so
boxes or something.
as a person, if I am a dishonest person, I will say the bank, keep the gold. Anyways, I took more money from you. So
Yeah.
you keep the gold. I don't care about the gold.
Okay.
Because the agreement, because the loan agreement is based on gold only, right? The bank cannot come after any of my assets.
Yeah.
Because the agreement clearly says that this loan is against the gold. So you keep the
Yeah.
gold, I'll keep the money. End of story.
Mm.
You to go to CIBIL, make my credit score bad, I don't care. Because I have more gold, I will go to some other guy. I will convince him that, boss, this gold is worth 40,000, now give me 40,000, full 100% loan. There will be another guy who's more greedy. He will think, "Arey, 15% interest mil raha hai." He will give me that. Then I'll keep his money also.
Yeah.
And how liquid is the gold market, Nishant?
The gold market is very liquid, yaar. Matlab,
So
liquid
then,
enough.
I mean, that is safer for banks, isn't it? I mean, if then they confiscate the gold, then it is probably possible for them to sell it
No,
comparatively.
they will sell it, yes, but they still lost money, na. As a banker, I don't want to lose money, right? I look like an idiot after studying so much and doing so much research on finance. I cannot do a proper underwriting. That is the job. That is my only job, bread and butter. I can't do that properly. People will give me danda, right? So basically, that is what I was trying to say, that this is the risk that banks have. So a lot of banks will not do it. So a lot of banks will say, fine, RBI said 90%, you go to RBI. I will only give you 60%. You want, take, otherwise go to some other bank. But there will be some lenders in the market who are higher risk taking, but they charge higher interest also.
Nishant, just one quick question. Now, the RBI said they're relaxing it from 75% to 90%, but do the banks can they decide to give, let's say, 80% value,
Yeah,
or do they have?
I
Okay.
can give 40% also. It is my money, right? Last
Yeah,
time
okay.
also I said this, na, so clearly. I am running HDFC Bank. I am Aditya Puri. Santi Kanta Das will not go to my shareholders, na. He is not responsible. He is just giving a guideline. Ki, boss, as a regulator, I am telling you that up to 90% you can go. Earlier, if I breached that 75%, I was against the regulator also. RBI could have fined me, saying that I am not even following prudential lending norms. I am not following the guidelines. Now RBI is saying, from my side, you are free to go up to 90%. But will I go or not is completely up to my risk appetite. If I am a safe bank, I will not do it. Like somebody was telling, this HDFC Bank has spoiled India market because they only give loans to consumers. So bank loan, home loan, personal loan, car loan, two-wheeler loan, only that they are interested in. They don't lend to industry. But that is smart, right? So if I give 1 crore two-wheeler loan, out of 1 crore, 2 lakh default, my 2% NPA. I give 100 companies loans of 2,000 crores, 30 default, mera to lag gaya na band. So that guy was saying that, but industries are not growing. But industries are not growing because they didn't have the reputation. Right? Any industry which has been honest with the banks can get as much money as they want. Today, if Reliance goes, they will get. So it is up to the industry how they build their reputation. Half were chores. They ran away with banks' money. So who will trust them?
I think last week, RC Bhargava, Maruthi's chairman, also commented, right? In India, industry is not growing because of the very high interest rate and they are not getting easy money.
That guy is giving story. He has so much money lying in his own balance sheet. Let him use that, na. Maruti has some 20,000 crores cash or something. Let him use that to make new plants, right? Why he is not doing that? Anyways, he's not even able to sell what his current production is. He is giving all the stories. What he's trying to say is comparing to global interest rates. But then there are other side effects, right? Which anyways I've been saying that make repo rate as zero in India. But anyways, I'm not running RBI. The day I run RBI, I'll make it negative. So it will be -5. Then money will flow like anything. Anyways. So now coming back to convertible bonds. So
that means here means whoever are having the savings, then they have to pay interest to the bank, right? Is it so? If you make it minus?
No, sir. That will be for the banks. So how banks deal with customers is up to them.
Okay.
But basically, banks, when they keep money with RBI, they'll have to keep to RBI. See, you need to understand, even in today's scenario, this HDFC Bank and all have a lot of cash. At the end of the day, they have some 2 lakh crore in their account, for example. They go and park with RBI and get 3.35. They are not ready to lend to people. They keep and park that money with RBI and get whatever 3.35. They are happy with that. Because they know for sure RBI will not run away with their money. But they are not giving loan. But they call me, but they don't call everyone. So the person who
They
needs
don't
the
take
loan, they
risk.
don't call. Yeah, exactly. They call me every day, take personal loan, this loan. I've blocked some 30 numbers of HDFC Bank in the last 1 week. So they will call people who can repay the money. Who don't need the money, they will call them. But who need the money, they don't want to. This is the problem. And this is a very big problem actually. This is the real problem on the ground. Money is not flowing to people who need it. And that is a big problem with the economy starting again. But anyways, that we'll cover in detail. Cool. So now coming back to convertible bonds. So today Venkat and Sri Hari and Ashrar spoke. So tomorrow's class, somebody else will need to speak up. Okay. And Venkat, Sri Hari, Ashrar, thanks for giving your points. Please be quiet tomorrow. Let others talk. But guys, please go through the videos. I doubt if you guys have gone through the video that we did on convertible bonds just for a revision. I don't know if you went through the, because I didn't share the material. So the Word document that I made. So you have to go through the video again to revise if you want. So just be cognizant of that. Cool. So I will share my screen now. So convertible bonds, we had stopped somewhere. So I will try to continue from there. Let me know if you guys can see my screen. Can you see my screen?
It's just black at the moment, dark.
Yeah, not yet.
Now?
It's good. Thanks.
Yep.
Okay. So in convertible bonds, there are multiple types. So I will touch upon two today. Okay. So if you guys have done some reading, you will find it faster to understand. If not, it will be a little slow. So as I mentioned, please go through that convertible bond article on Wikipedia. I will share it again. So the first one is the vanilla convertible bond. Now understand, this word vanilla is used a lot in finance because that is the easiest one or the most simplest one for everything. So vanilla means the most simple one. Always remember, in finance, wherever you hear the word vanilla, it will be the most simple version of that product. So just like vanilla ice cream, generally out of 10, 6 will like vanilla because that's a very standard flavor for whatever reason. That is the nature of vanilla, not 6, maybe 4. Whereas if you ask chocolate, maybe 3 will like. The others will not be as common. So that is where they use the word vanilla for the simplest product. So as the name suggests, vanilla convertible bonds are the most plain convertible structures. They grant the holder. So when I say the holder, the buyer of the bond, right? So issuer, buyer, okay, or lender, borrower, whichever way you want to look at it. So they grant the right to convert into a certain number of shares determined according to the conversion price in advance. So for example, I am the issuer. I issued 1 lakh convertible bonds. And I said that you can convert all of these into shares after 2 years at 10 rupees. Okay. These bonds will continue to offer interest every year, whatever at the rate of 12% or 15%, whatever is it decided. Okay, forget this. Questions? Guys, questions?
No, it's pretty
So
clear.
yes, okay, right. So here you said it's vanilla. Okay. Yes. Is it also like, you know, it's where people have to get this? It's from the primary market.
Sorry.
Where people can get this? If in the primary, where it will be, you know, sold.
What will be sold where?
This bonds.
The same thing, right? So when it is sold for the first time, it will be in the primary market, and then it will be traded freely.
Okay, this also okay, right. Okay, right.
So say for example, Apple decides to issue 1 crore vanilla convertible bonds with a maturity of 10 years. So the first time they are issuing, it will be the primary market. Then they will list it in one of the bond exchanges in the US, and freely you can buy and sell. Every day the price will change. But compared to equity, bond prices are less volatile. So if equity price can go from 100 to 105 in one day, bond will rarely move so much. Bond will go from 100 to 101, come back to 99, go to 10.5, like that. Keep fluctuating in a much narrower band.
Okay, right.
Clear questions?
Yeah, Nishant, how will this conversion price? I mean, how does this happen that they determine a conversion price in advance?
Yeah, so there are formulas for it. I will not go into that because that will be too complex. But in the
Yeah.
simplest of way, think about it like this. Say today's Apple price is $400 and this bond is issued for 10 years. So Apple says that, boss, okay, after 1 year, if you want to convert, the total number of shares that I'm issuing is 1 crore. So definitely all of it will not be convertible after 1 year. Maybe out of 1 crore, 5 lakh will be convertible, and for each bond you can get 1 share, for example. That is the conversion ratio, and that conversion will happen at a price of uh, say $300 or whatever.
Can you write it down on the Word file and just explain it, because I'm not able to understand the numbers.
Okay, so say Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for this detailed explanation, Ishan. Just one thing, how did you get 350 here? How did they get the number 350 that they have to pay? I mean, because they don't even know that the stock, how is the stock price going to be? So how can they decide that, it will be 350?
Yeah, so that's what I said, right? That is a very complex calculation, and I will not get into
Okay,
that.
okay.
But
No, I mean, I got the
basically,
hang of it. Yeah.
basically, this 350 is determined based on how much is the stock appreciation possible, how much of a upside the company wants to give to the bondholders. Because if the company feels that share price growth can be 50%, so 400 can become 600. So by giving them, the bondholder, the option to pay another 350, which means they are actually making the cost for the bondholder as 450. So he will
Yeah,
be
yeah.
able to make around 33% profit. So by giving him that projection, so obviously these are all projections, but by giving him that projections, what he will make is that he will make the bondholder agree to a much lower rate of interest. So in this case,
Yeah.
I'm saying that he's paying 5% interest. If it was a normal bond, he might be paying 9% interest or 12% interest. So that way this negotiation happens. So it is the negotiation
Okay.
between the bondholder and the issuer and all that. So, and then the bankers are paid for this. So they will use some formulas, discounted cash flow and all. So as I said, those are quite
Okay.
complex
Got it.
formulas. I don't think so
Yeah.
at this moment the group is ready to get into all that. Once
No.
I
I
feel,
just want no. I think it's okay. Just one thing that so I mean it's just safer to convert it. I mean it could be safer to allow it to mature and then anyway the holder will get the 5% interest every year and then the principal amount at the end of 10 years, right? Even if they don't convert it to the shares.
no, I don't get it. From whose perspective you're asking the question?
I am asking from the perspective of the bond. Like if I buy the bond,
Yeah,
if I'm the holder, so
yeah.
then if I don't want to convert it into equity next year or maybe any year in my 10 years term, so at the end of the 10 years, I will have all the interest payment of 5% each year, and as well as the principal that I paid initially.
Yes, correct. But then why would you buy a
Yeah.
convertible bond, right? If that is your agenda, then you will not buy a convertible bond, na? Because
No,
you
no,
are getting 5%. If you bought some other if you bought some
yeah,
other bond, you would have got 9%. Why will you agree for a lesser rate of interest? The only reason somebody
true.
buys a convertible bond is for the equity upside. So basically, I am buying. Guys, somebody go on mute, please. Yeah, so the only reason I am buying a convertible bond is because of this use case, right? Which I just mentioned. That current
Yeah,
price is $400, and anyways, I'm not able to convert all in one shot, right? So say I bought, where is my example? So I bought 500 bonds. So my agenda is to convert all these 500 into equities. Now, as per the rule, every year 50-50 only I can convert. So once first year is over, so this price will be different for each year. Okay, this is after first year. After second year, I may have to pay higher amount. So
okay.
after first year, I'll be able to convert only 50 shares, 50 of my bond to shares, because it is 1:1. Now I have already paid 50,000 and agreed for a lower rate of interest. So first year I will get interest on this 50,000, which will be $2,500. But my whole game is that by paying another 350, so total cost of 450, I'll get the shares. So my whole agenda is that the share price should be more than 450, 480, 490, whatever. So that
Yeah, yeah,
additional
absolutely.
capital appreciation that I will get will cover my lower rate of interest.
Yeah, yeah, makes sense. Got it.
Okay, and this is just one example. There can be many scenarios. Instead of 10% after 1 year, it can be 20% also. That 20% you can convert. It can be 30% also. It can be 40% also. It can be
And the
2%
interest
also.
rate would then fall, keep on, like whatever is the, then in that case, the stock price, then the whole ratio would change accordingly.
No, which ratio? I'm not clear
I
with your
mean,
question.
for example, if they offer 20%, then they will sort of try to make sure that they don't have to pay more. I mean, why would they offer 20%, and wouldn't that be like a riskier affair for the company?
No, why would a company offer 20% of your bonds to be converted to equity after 1 year with a 10-year maturity? Is that your question?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so the company would offer because who is more desperate? If the company is more desperate to get the money, so that will give you more sweeter deal, right? It is who needs the money more.
Okay,
So
got
if
it,
the,
got it, yeah.
Nishant, I have a question. So if here it's, maturity is 10 years. What happens if I'm not converting for 10 years, and after 10 years it will automatically get converted into equity?
no, right? So we are discussing vanilla, right? So in vanilla it is not there. So what you are saying is part of mandatory. So here
Oh,
it will
okay.
not get converted. So here, like a standard bond transaction, right? Every year I will keep getting, like he was saying,
Interest?
Vaibhav was saying, every year I will keep getting. So my investment was 50,000, right? So every year I'll keep getting that five. Or let's take one example only, right? So if I bought a single bond, 100, so every year I'll keep getting 50, $5 every year for 10 years, and then at the end of 10 years I'll get my $100 back. So total 100 became 150 in 10 years. Simple, plain and easy.
Okay, right. Okay. So right.
But I would be very stupid, right, if I do that as a
Yeah.
buyer,
I
because
have a
I
question.
would much rather than buy that 9% one. Na? Why would I buy the 5% one? So I'll buy a normal bond instead of a convertible bond. Sure, Ashar, go ahead. Wait,
So,
just 1 second. So did I answer question, Venkat?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Since I'm new to this bond, I'm never heard earlier, so I have the sort of basic questions.
No worries. Ask as many questions as possible. I love questions. The thing is, when I start, I only want to answer questions during the session, but people don't ask. Go on, Ashar.
so why is it 450 again? I missed something there. Can you go down? Can you scroll down? So you say that it's 350 plus 100. 100 is the issue price of each bond, right?
Yeah. So I bought. No,
What?
so yeah, issue price, but for me the cost is 450, right? I already paid 100 to buy the bond, right? Now the bond is getting converted to equity. I'm paying an additional 350. So the total is 450, right? Because when I convert, I will not have access to the bond anymore, right? So now my 500 bonds that I had bought, now it will become 400, na? Because those 100 bond are, 450. 50 bonds are converted to equity, right? So bond will reduce, right? Not clear still.
It's clear.
Ashraf? Yeah.
It's
Okay.
clear. It's clear.
So my total cost. So this 450 is the total cost of one share for me.
Because you
Not
already
the
paid for the bond initially, right?
exactly,
That's the reason.
exactly.
And you said something just now that it should be, you took this lower. I mean, I don't know who, I think it was Kunal or Vaibhav. I guess, I don't know. Somebody asked this question that you took a lower interest rate because every year your plan is to convert 50 of these bonds to shares, no? That's
Exactly.
in this case.
I
And then
agree.
that should offset the price, no? That should be, you should make some money out of it, is what you mean.
Exactly. So basically, I'm betting that the buyer of a convertible bond, right? So understand the perspective of the buyer. So if I am buying a convertible bond, I'm basically thinking like an equity investor. So I am thinking that this company has good potential. So by buying a bond, I'm limiting my downside. So basically 5% anyways I will get fixed. But if the company does well, I will also make profits by selling the share at a higher price. See the point? So it is like, so initially people were saying mixed and all. So I was looking for a word which nobody mentioned. It is known as a hybrid security. So it's like getting the best of both worlds. So like the security of a job, but the growth of a business.
And did you explain, Nishant, earlier about normal bond? I missed it if you explained already.
Yes, it is there in the recording, which means you have not watched all the recordings.
No.
Yeah. So we did it like 3-4 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago. So
I was not part of that.
Yeah. So we have done the basics. Yeah, Venkat, you were not there. So I think you have been here for 3-4 weeks, right? So
only just, I think it's my third week. Yes.
So yeah, you should watch some of those recordings. Questions, guys? So we will stop here. I will stop my screen sharing. Any other questions? I'm happy to take. In terms of the video I shared, I got feedback that the Khan Academy is good and that Lady Rachna is good. Anyone else you guys find good, please let me know. So I will share more from them. And unfortunately,
Guys,
in my YouTube settings, I get all these Hindi videos more. I don't know why. I'm unable to change it. So if anyone searches and gets the English ones, please share it. For whatever reason it comes, maybe I watch a lot of Hindi other videos, others. So
It's the YouTube algorithm. That's the YouTube algorithm which does that.
Yeah. So
Hashtag Yogi is also good.
Okay. So yeah. So Vaibhav, can you make this a list somewhere in our OneDrive and have it stored that these are the YouTube channels that the group members liked, so we can leverage those channels going forward.
Yeah, sure. I'll think about it. I mean, I'll try to organize it and I'll do something.
Yeah, and then to kind of give you an update on Slack. So everybody should be on Slack. The channels are pretty organized. So like I mentioned, to study for class, what I share is mandatory for the class. If you don't study it or don't go through that video or the link, that is your loss. Everything else is optional. So like for example, on fixed income channel, if you go, I have shared a ton of content. So that's like a library, but it is still much lesser than going to a YouTube, because YouTube will have thousands. I have drilled it down to 30 or 40. But still those 30-40 will actually give you a very good understanding of the fixed income as a whole. And once you start understanding each of these products, then you can start linking them up and then get into other things. So I would strongly encourage everyone to go through those individual videos at your time. And then the first condition, even before you go there, for people who have joined after the program started, so either in May or June or July, please go through all that our group has done from day one. Okay, that is in itself a good amount of work. Okay, so I do understand everyone has time constraints, and anybody who's joining the group newly, I'm telling them minimum commitment of 5 hours a week. So even if you watch, like, say, I don't know, including today's session, we would have 40 hours worth of sessions probably. Now, if you have attended 10 of those, so the rest 30 you need to catch up. So even if you do like 1 hour a week, that is still 30 weeks. So try to do 1 or 2 hours a week. Okay. And do it at any time, early morning, late night, whatever suits you. Okay. So first complete what the group has done, then you move on to the other channels, because the channel library will keep growing. But now with Slack, it is much more organized rather than being all at one place. It's much more organized and categorized in groups. Okay. Any other suggestions you have to make the group more streamlined and make it easier for you guys to grow? Please do let me know. Okay, as I said, again, the group belongs to everyone. I lead the group because I started it, but the agenda is to make this group run for hundreds of years. So people will have to kind of take it forward. Any other questions, suggestions, thoughts before we close? None?
What's
Okay.
for tomorrow? Is it debentures still, or?
Yeah, so we just
What's the
did
plan?
vanilla, right? So if I just look at the Wikipedia article, we have vanilla, mandatory, reverse, package, contingent, foreign currency. So we have 6, then we have conversion price, issuance premium, conversion ratio, all of that. So I will cover that as well. Then investor profiles. So there's quite a lot to do. So yeah, for sure tomorrow this will be the agenda. Maybe another couple of sessions as well, because there's quite a lot to cover. So let's get one thing very clear. So yeah, so for tomorrow for sure we'll stick to this. I will try to give another 2 videos for tomorrow, some additional content if I can find, because content is not so easy to find on Wikipedia, but go through the on YouTube, but go through the Wikipedia article and some of the other articles like Investopedia and all. Has everyone read the Wikipedia article for convertible bonds, the base one? I will share it again.